Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Frederick Winsness, and I am the Program Director at NetHope, and want to welcome everyone to yet another NetHope Solutions Center webinar today with Heifer and Unit 4. We are talking about financial reports, empower staff, and improve trust with funders. And before we get underway, I'll go over our normal housekeeping slide. Again, everybody's set to be muted when joining the call today, but please keep your lines muted when not talking. And we will take Q&A towards the end. We want to make this as interactive as possible, but we'll let the presenters do their thing, and towards the end of the hour, we'll do a 10-15 minute Q&A session. So again, please open your chat windows and line up questions there, and we'll facilitate question and answers towards the end. We will also be asking you to fill out a quick webinar satisfaction poll in order to get some more feedback on this series and improve it over time. So as usual, we are recording this session, and the follow-up email will be coming out later today or tomorrow with links to the recording and the presentation. So look for that and feel free to share that with your colleagues and review the content a second time yourself. So without no further ado, I will introduce Chris Brewer. He's a Contract Executive of Unit 4, and he will be introducing Jesus from Heifer. So go ahead, Chris.
Oh, can you hear me now, Frederick?
Yes, I can.
Excellent. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's my great pleasure that I get the opportunity to introduce Mr. Jesus Pizarro, Vice President of Enterprise Accounting and Controller at Heifer International. I've been lucky enough to know Jesus since he started this process, so I'm very excited to have him present this information. In his role, Mr. Pizarro supervised accounting and global financial consolidations, as well as providing leadership of the Unit 4 Business World ERP solution and blockchain technology at Heifer International. Mr. Pizarro earned his bachelor's degree from accounting at Pontifical Catholic University in Puerto Rico. Here come his credentials: an MPA from City University of New York, an MBA in Management Information Systems from the University of Sacred Heart in Puerto Rico. And if that were not enough, Mr. Pizarro is an author, having written a book, Lessons Learned from an ERP, from the Perspective of International Accounting by a Non-Governmental Organization. In this book, Mr. Pizarro shares his experience-based knowledge to help other financial organizations worldwide. And finally, with pride, I would like to add that with the help and leadership of Mr. Pizarro, Unit 4 and Heifer International won the Enterprise Solution of the Year award from the IT European Excellence Committee this past year. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Mr. Jesus Pizarro. Good morning, Jesus.
Good morning, Chris, and good morning, everybody. Thank you for NetHope and Unit 4 for the invitation to share our experience in Heifer, how we improve our financial reporting, and how we also increase trust from institutional donors. For example, USAID, that when they audit our book after the earthquake in Nepal, not only we pass the audit, but also they taught us that Heifer is not only the few of the organizations that have global visibility of the financial transaction, that it was one of few organizations that she didn't found a witness. So it was an honor for us to receive this opinion from USAID, one of the bigger institutional donors. And that is the purpose of this webinar, to continue to improve our business process. This is this is not this is a continual working process. And in Heifer we have that very clear. For me, it's an honor to be here talking with a group that dedicates their time to do good, to build a better future, helping other people. I am very proud to the team of Heifer. I am very proud to be working with Heifer. For me, it's an honor. So today, I'm going to share some of what I believe, in my opinion, as a global controller in Heifer International, what are the key factors to improve your financial reporting. As Chris said, I wrote a book. I put together some lessons learned. In total, in the last chapter of my book, I make a summary of 58 lessons learned. Today, I'm going to share with you some of them, the more related with financial report. Okay. But before that, I know that some of you know Heifer very well, but I would like to share with you my favorite video that explains who we are. Freddy, can you play the video? Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed this video as much as I like. The first Heifer project was in my home country, Puerto Rico, in 1942. And today you can go back to the Barrio Castañer, and you can see that people remember Heifer. It's a very beautiful picture. By the way, I have the picture in my LinkedIn account. About when Heifer was there in the first project. So today, what I am doing today is in some way also passing the gift of this year of experience working with Heifer. I have been working with Heifer for now 8 years, but in the last 6 to 7 years, I have been working directly with the ERP implementation as a controller. As you see, our mission is to end hunger and poverty, and we do our mission through agricultural development projects. It's a global issue and it's a real issue. For example, every day 10,000 people die because of hunger or hunger-related disease. 1/3 of the world population obtains its livelihood from agriculture. Today, from 7 to 100 millions of people, they go to bed without food. 2 billion people struggle, have problems because of poverty and hunger. And the challenge by 2015 is the world population is going to increase to 2 billion people more. So in Heifer, we are very clear that we need to scale up our project and move faster. So we have limited resources. We cannot be everywhere, and today we are in over 25 countries. This is the last map that we have, and we are in Latin America, also in the U.S. we have a program. We have in some countries in Africa, Asia. We have some partners. We used to have food programs in Europe, but right now we have some partners, and we continue supporting them in a different way. We try to support the farmers in different stages. We want to make sure that they reach a living income, and we want to connect the farmers at the end to the market. So we have different projects with different focus. Our CEO, Pierre Ferrari, called this a pro-poor value change. As you know, in our sector, we always are struggling about transparency, accountability, lower general accounting costs, and move faster. In Heifer, we are looking for a new opportunity to improve our business process, increase our impact, at the same time that we can reduce our overhead. So as you know, the risks are very clear. The ongoing conflict, corruption, corporate greed, unsustainable food system, and climate change. You can see in the last week, 3 hurricanes at the same time. Some of the islands in the Caribbean, like San Thomas, San Martin, Barbuda, what they are struggling today is with water supply and food. They are the more vulnerable countries, the island in the Caribbean and other places. So we need to move more fast, increase our impact. For this reason, for Heifer, doing nothing was not an option. So our CEO 6 years ago, he created 3 global strategies: diversify our revenue because the Great Recession. Teach us we need to have a more diversification of revenue. Scale up our program, but in order to scale up our program, also we need to build a state-of-the-art system to support the diversification of revenue and also to support the program impact. In this slide, I try to summarize how we evolved in the last 6 years. We have in the case of finance, with the request for proposal, we select Unit 4 because the project focus, the flexibility, and also the total cost of ownership. We start our implementation with general layer and some core accounting system. Then later we focus in integration with other enterprise systems that we have in our organization. And then we continue to do other business process improvement, like incorporation of HR. And today we are doing the implementation of procurement. We have a partial implementation of procurement, so we want to go full online with procurement. At the end of the year 15, I did an evaluation then of how we are doing. So I discovered doing reviewing our numbers that at the end we reduced our overhead expense in general and administration support in almost more than $2 million per year. That was a reduction of 27%. In accounting, we reduced more than $800,000. In license of software, close to 200, only in license, $200,000. In the past, before the ERP, we used to have servers in every office. That was part of the savings. But at the same time, in the programmatic side, we increased from 1.9 million families to 3 million families. So that in the way that I see it, is a huge impact, and we are very proud of that. Now, something that I remember, and I want to give this example, is because I remember when I started Heifer, December 1, 2009. I remember that the earthquake of Haiti, that was January 11, 2010, wasn't easy to know how much money we have for disaster relief. With our design now, at any time, we know how much money at any time we have available for a disaster relief. And now we are responding to different emergencies in real time. This is important to mention because we are not a relief organization, we are an economic development organization. But sometimes while we are working, that is happening today in Mexico, by the way, our office in Mexico is in Oaxaca. And during the weekend, the earthquake of 8.2 was in Chiapas, and we have projects in Chiapas. So that the design of fund accounting that we incorporate in our ERP help us to manage disaster recovery fund very quickly. And this was the case also in the past. We were able to manage more than $0.5 million in 6 months. And this is the project that also later auditors from USAID not only will pass the audit, but also in the letter they give us this recognition. Other situation that we were able to respond very fast, not only because the donor community that we have, but also because we have systems that can support the organization. was the China earthquake in April 2013, the Philippines typhoon 2014, Nepal earthquake, as I said, the earthquake in Ecuador, Hurricane Matthew in Haiti last October 2016. So now we are more prepared than ever to support our projects and poor community around the world, especially with this kind of natural disaster. So as I say, I wrote a book where I have more than 58 lessons learned. But if you ask me what are the top 3 key success factors to have a successful implementation of an ERP focus in financial reporting system, I will say that the top 3 is shown at the top: standardization of the business process and training. And let me repeat these are key. Shown at the top. So if you don't have support of the president of your organization and the engagement of the employee, it's going to be very difficult to have successful. This is a big project, and you need the support from the top executive, and also you need the support of the engagement. So one way to have engagement from the employee is that during the reversal proposal, in the demonstration, we invite representatives of all the organizations, and they were part of the decision. We create a voting system where everybody were able to see the demonstration of the different vendors, and then they vote. But was an organization decision, wasn't a control of a chief financial officer, of a IT director. And in my experience, that helped us to engage the employees across the organization. Standardization. If you don't have a standardization, it's very impossible to automatize your process in the ERP. Some of the key policies that you need to standard are the chart of account. In the past, we used to have more than 5 different systems, and every area, and in some area, every country, they used to have different chart of account. It is impossible to produce consolidation of financial information in monthly basis. We are doing that today, and we are doing that today because we were able to have a standard chart of account. In some countries, like China, Peru, and some countries in Europe, like Romania and Ukraine, government normally they have their own chart of account. So what we did in our ERP, we create a mapping with our standard chart of account, and by this way we standardize the chart of account. Other accounting policies for accounting that I'm going to talk in the next slide also are key for the standardization of the business process, including, and I say that they are job description. One of the challenges that we have with the procurement is that was decentralized and the job description, the person that do the procurement in every department and country, the job description wasn't standardized. So we are working with that to try to standardize this process in order to automatize. In accounting, was very easy. Accounting, you know, is a very old profession. We don't know when accounting starts. Very clear. Some people say that was in Iraq, in the Mesopotamia area, but accounting born almost at the same time that the agriculture born. Accounting was created to record agricultural production. In the same way that we create money. Money also, in some way, is an accounting system. So because accounting is very old, our position in some way are standardized. So it's more easy to standardize accounting than other professions. Now technology. As you know, technology is only as good as the people who use it. It's fundamental to have return of investment. So you need to include in your budget resources for training. This is key. Now, to be more specific about, I mentioned the top three that I would like you to memorize are key in any MIS system. But in terms of the financial information, for an international NGO, my top 4 recommendation is, for example, to understand that accounting or financial information is like a newspaper. So who wants to be just a newspaper? Nobody, because it's irrelevant. So accounting, the mission of accounting is to provide useful information to the user to make decisions. Nobody uses their own newspaper. They want the information on time and clear. And that is the mission of accounting. And in some industries, even the financial information needs to be on demand because the accounting closing could be too late. This is very important that in today's economy, you need to prepare your system to have information on demand. The general purpose financial statement, the traditional information, balance sheet, statement of activity, cash flow, do not provide all the information that the user needs. They provide general information, not important information, but sometimes the user needs different information. For this reason, it's very important that you dedicate time in your chart of account. If it's not in your chart of account, you are not going to report. For example, in our chart of account, we have 7 segments of dimensions of sub-accounts. And what is key, one of the, I would say that what is key for financial reporting is currency, one of the segments. What currency do you make the transaction? Projects and donors. Of course, account, the natural account. So depend what is your reporting you need to create your self-account. It's something that every year you have to analyze to see if you need to change that. One way that can help you to design a good self-account is to create a metrics of reporting. Ask your user, what is the relevant information that you need to make decisions? What is the question that you need to answer? Because no every report answers all the questions. So depend what is the question, is the report that you are going to prepare. But if you don't collect this information in your chart of account, it's going to be impossible to report. In our context, international NGO that we have projects in more than 30 countries, only a consolidated financial report can give you a fully picture of what is going in the project. Another topic that is critical in our sector, and I recommend is the use of fund accounting. For accounting, not every software of every ERP offers fund accounting. Fund accounting is a concept that comes from government accounting, so it's not mandatory for non-profit accounting, but it's a best practice. In our case, we are using fund accounting. We incorporate fund accounting, and it's working very well. Here I have the definition of the fund accounting because here is some confusion, but the accounting definition is an accounting entity. It's an independent accounting entity that balances with assets, liabilities, and so on. So fund is not equal to net assets. Fund is an independent accounting entity. So here we are using, in Heifer, we are using fund accounting in the U.S. to make a differentiation between temporary registered fund, permanent registered fund, and unregistered fund. In country, we are using fund accounting to separate every major donors. So at any time, from the country perspective, we can run a report. We can run a complete set of financial reports by donor because we are using fund accounting. It's a recommendation to our sector, especially because we report to different stakeholders and the implementation of fund accounting. Foreign currency management is critical. One of the bigger errors that I see in our sector is to try to manage accounting information in the same way that we manage budget. And this is an error. The U.S. GAAP and also the IFRS, they prescribe already how we record the transactions in our book, in our GL. For donor report, we don't have a global standard. USAID and IFA, they have different rules. Other donors, they have different rules. So these are my recommendations in terms of Forex. First one, make sure that your software can manage multiple currencies. At least you need the local currency, the functional currency, and the reporting currency. Why the local currency? Because normally in country also you need to report to the government. Let me give you one specific example, Cambodia. In Cambodia, when we did the analysis, our analysis said that the functional currency in Cambodia is the US dollar. Because that was the currency that we were using for projects, for the contract with project partners, for the contract with different suppliers. But for government also, we need to report to the government in Cambodia reales. So it's important that in Cambodia you have at least the local currency and the functional currency. This is true also in Zimbabwe. So the other is reporting currency. In our case, because we are in the US, our reporting currency is the US dollar, and this is critical. I see I was one UN agency. One of the errors that they have in the ERP implementation was that they didn't standardize the reporting currency in the different branches. But if you don't standardize your reporting currency, you are not going to produce consolidation information at any time. So you don't have time to. Sometimes the user of the information needs information now. In order to have the information now, it's very important that you standardize the reporting currency. Also, my recommendation, this is what we are doing also in Heifer, is a subscription with a company that can provide Forex information, so you have this integration and you don't have to touch. I remember when I started the controller, we had to do the revaluation in Excel. A lot of errors. We are human. Sometimes we multiply when we have to divide, and I always found error, and not always you capture the error on time, because if there are no material, you don't see it. So it's something that is working beautiful with our ERP system. Oanda is not the only one. You have other providers, but this is the one that we are using. My recommendation always to the finance managers that are working at the beginning of the contract, make sure that you clarify how are you going to manage Forex with the donor. As I say, for the accounting perspective, you have a global standard in US GAAP and also IFRS, but for the donor, you don't have that. If, for example, have clear method, USAID, they don't have clear method, but they don't, in some way, what I found is that the recommendation from the U.S. Inspector General Office is to use the exchange rate when you make the payment. When you convert the US dollar to the local currency or the functional currency. So you have two alternatives. You have the accounting exchange rate. So in your donor report, you're going to have Forex. You have the budget exchange rate, the exchange rate that you use when you prepare this budget with the donor. So in this case, then you have to take your accounting record, because in accounting you use the daily rate, the historical exchange rate, and this is a gap. You cannot change that. But if with the donor, says, no, in order to measure the performance of the project team, then I want to see the aspect of using the budget, the spot rate when you did the budget. And this is one method. And the other method is the disbursement exchange when you made the payment. And this is what USAID and in some way also IFA recommend for their project. So what is critical here, that at the beginning of the project, you need to include that. You need to make clear with the donor what is going to be your method to report Forex. Because in an international project, you always going to have gain and loss because Forex. Okay, the other recommendation, let me see, I talk about well, as I say, and let me do a time check. That are my top 3 recommendations in terms of financial reporting, in terms of the 3 key success factors, as I said at the beginning. Stand at the top, standardization of the business process, training, for financial reporting. My recommendation is manage the Forex, have a policy in terms of Forex, the use of fund accounting, and standardization of the chart of account that includes not only the natural account but also the currencies and the different dimensions of currencies, the donor and the project. I have, as Chris said and I said at the beginning, I wrote a book about lessons learned from the ERP from the perspective of international accounting in the international NGO. This book is available in Amazon. The profit of this book is for Heifer, so it's called Back to the Mission. So now I believe that we are open for question and answer. So I go back to Chris or Frederick.
Well, thank you very much, Jesus. I appreciate all the valuable information here, and I'll leave. I put the link to your book in the chat window also, so people can click through to that. And I'll also go to your last slide where we have content information for Chris, who introduced the session here today. And I'll also put that information in the chat window. We have received quite a few questions already, and I encourage people to add more questions to the chat window if they desire, but I'll take them from top to bottom in the order that they came in. So the first question, Jesus, was when you explained how Heifer works on the ground, you talked about the value chain and how products reach consumers. Can you talk a little bit about how you work with partners? These could be co-ops or private sector companies or governments to do that, and to what extent do you report on those activities or the impact on that to funders?
Okay, thank you for the question. Well, we have different strategies, as I explained. We have people that need in some way, we need to build everything from the scratch, and other people that have already some infrastructure, but they need to connect to the market. As a general answer, we try to work with partners in the majority of the projects. And partners are government, farmer co-op, vendor, other NGOs as much as possible. Also, in some communities, we try to be, as part of our strategy of social capital, we try to, we help them to organize so they can create their own support group, or they can create the farmer co-op. We have a theory of change. The theory of change applies in every kind of project. And the theory of change has 5 elements that we are looking in every project. One of the elements is increasing income. Increasing income, and this is very easy to explain. By transfer assets to increase income, by training, and then they learn how new skills also they can increase income. It's very easy to measure. The other element that we have in our theory of change is food security and nutrition. Also, one way that we are looking for diversity. For example, at the beginning of the project, our baseline is to see the diet, and they are eating only potatoes, for example. But if we can incorporate potatoes plus meat plus vegetables, also this is part of our the element that we are looking for in every kind of project at different partners. Of course, we are looking for the element of environment. We are focusing women empowerment and social capital. So in every project, we work with partners, and we use our theory of change to monitor every project. From the financial perspective, we report financial numbers, very straightforward. But from the programmatic perspective, because every project is different, and also we have donors that they have a specific objective. The report is not like a standard report; it's very specific to the project. However, because our theory of change, we have like 20 indicators, KPI in addition to the financial indicators. We have like 20 indicators that are present in every project. So in every project, we have the same indicator, but depend the project and the strategy of the project, it's possible that we are incorporating other indicators with different purpose. So to answer the question, every project is different. We want to work with as much partners we can engage. And let me give you this example. For example, Haiti and Brazil, different economies, in Haiti, very difficult to find partners. So in Haiti, our role is more an implementation role. In Haiti, it's more an informal economy. In Brazil, and we are not in Brazil anymore, but we used to be in Brazil. Brazil was a more formal economy. So in Brazil, everything was with partners, with project holders. So we were supporting every organization. So that depends the context is the strategy. What is the same is the mission, and from evaluation perspective, we are using our theory of change as a framework to measure our impact in a standard way, but also is flexible enough to go to the specifics of the purpose of this project. Do I answer the question?
I think you've expanded on the question, and that's a terrific answer.
With the disclosure that I am the controller.
We'll close the book after the webinar, make sure. Okay. So the next question that came in was, you mentioned that support from executives was a key success criteria. What is it that your leadership team is looking for in your financial and ERP systems?
Well, they are looking for information on time to make decisions. The mission, something that nonprofit don't have, and I include in my book, is an accounting framework for nonprofit. We have a framework for government, we have a framework for profit, but we don't have a framework for nonprofit. And in the framework, what is in the top is the user. And what is the user? The user is the people that make decisions. So what the top executives of any user are looking for reliable information on time so they can make decisions. So when I say that you need this support, is that they need to be engaged with the project. A ERP implementation of any project is going to face a lot of challenge. For example, if you read the CAP report, in the CAP report, I remember, I don't know if it's improved in the last year, but 80% of big projects are not successful. One of the first reason is lack of executive support. So if you have this initiative in your finance department that you know that you need to update your system to provide a better service, you need to engage the CEO and the top executive. If not, it's going to be a waste of time. So sometimes we need to go to the basic of accounting, and the basic of accounting is to provide useful information to the decision makers. That is why I compare accounting like a newspaper. So in some way we produce a newspaper, but with numbers. So this is key. If you don't have that, don't do it. You need that. I don't know if I answered the question, but it's a team approach.
Yeah, I think your analogy about a newspaper with numbers, was an excellent illustration. You also mentioned the fact that we need a common financial reporting framework for nonprofits, and NetHope is working with our members on something called the NGO reference model, which is even a higher level description of the processes and the process flows within the non-government organization. And I'd love to get your perspective on that, and we can take that offline, talk a little bit about the reference model and how it might tie into financial reporting. Anyway, the next question that came in, while support from executives are important, you also mentioned that user training was important. So when you conduct employee ERP training, Is that done in person, or do you provide online lessons, either webinars or videos? And who creates the training materials? Is that internally at Heifer?
Yes, this is a good question because when I share lesson learned, that don't mean that we were perfect in every dimension that I am recommending. In training, this is one of the areas that overall we all underestimate. For example, we regret not to record the first training. So our strategy was like a geographical strategy. And by the way, this is one of my recommendations, to do a geographical implementation, also focusing language. For example, in Latin America, we did the training in Spanish, and in the other countries where in English, if we have people that speak French, it was much better. But we in Heifer, we didn't invest enough at the beginning. We are doing the investment now. And what we are doing also, we are creating now the material online. In my experience is that people learn in a different way. Some people they can watch a video and they understand. They don't need the face-to-face. Other people they need the face-to-face, and other people learn by doing. In my experience and how I learn by doing. This is the way that I am doing. So right now we are doing the more investment now, and we have a team that we are producing now e-learning. Also, we create in Heifer subject matter expert. We have a subject matter expert in account payable. We have a subject matter expert in fixed assets, general ledger, bank reconciliation, budget, reporting, different areas. And sometimes when a country and when some people have a specific need, we use GoToMeeting, we use Skype to deliver this specific training. But my recommendation will be, if I do it now from the beginning, I will do more investment in training. I will have this e-learning material already prepared. And in our case, we did our training with our own employees, our finance and accounting employees. In our case, the Unit 4 business world is very flexible. So at the same time, you have to build everything. So it's very difficult. Even me, I found in the internet educational material from other organizations that was available online. But because Unit 4 is very flexible, every company, they have different customization. So at the end, you will have to create your own training material. Unit 4, in the last conference, I was able to see much better material. They have very basic material that you can use. The material right now is in English. If you are in other countries, you will have to translate this material. But my recommendation also is to do customized material and use all resources available, not only in paper, face-to-face, online, and also by language. In our case, normally we do it in English and in Spanish.
Well, excellent, thank you. Very comprehensive approach. Yes, we have two more questions, and as we go through those, I will be flipping the screen to the webinar satisfaction poll, so if people can answer those questions while we're talking, that would be great. So now the next question came from Ram, and the question was, what was the scope of your implementation? Was it just financials, or did it include other areas like HR, CRM, etc.? And within financials, what was implemented? General ledger, accounts payable, etc.
So our scope was finance, HR, and some element of project management. So we didn't include CRM. We are using other systems for CRM. And I believe that up to date also Unifor doesn't have a CRM implementation, but our scope again was finance, accounting, core accounting, budget, forecasting, HR, capital resource planning, and some element of project management. And because Unifor is focusing projects, you have this module out of the box.
Excellent. Yeah, and I also posted the link to the case study from Unit 4 that describes your project. So people should feel free to download that PDF file. We have a last question, and this may be a topic for a future webinar, but for your financial reporting, kind of up and down the organization, all the way from the country and project level up to the executive suite, are you providing your users relevant and distributed dashboards with real-time data for decision makers, or are you providing more periodic, weekly, monthly, quarterly standard financial reports?
Excellent question. What we are providing today, we try to promote that, especially finance people use the reporting tool we have in Aggresso, so they can pull out information on demand. As I said at the beginning, not every report answers all the questions. So what we call the browser, and we also give you some specific information depend the question. What we provide today is we create reporting index. So different users across the organization can go to this index and run a report depending on the information that they need. Our intention was with the reporting index that non-financial people can go there and run the report. Our experience is that the reality, we have the theory and we have the practice. And the practice is that it's only finance people that are using the reporting index. So now we want to change the strategy. For example, part of the strategy, we create one report that our Chief Financial Officer request Bob Bloom, that is the project report, and we call the John report because Alan John created the report. And the strategy, even that this information is in the index, is to push this information in monthly basis to all the stakeholders. And this information has the project expense versus budget. We have every month the operating meeting, and a very significant amount of this operating meeting is to discuss the variance of this report. For this reason also, I said, well, that in some way our implementation changed the culture, because in the past, when we didn't have the information, we were discussing reporting by perception or with all information, but now this information is almost on demand. So we at the beginning we had the reporting index. People need to go to Aggresso to run the report. Now we are pushing the information. This information is by email and also in some place in the internet. We want, as part of our business process improvement, we want to create more dashboard so people have a better information. And also in our future also is also to use artificial intelligence, because also dashboard is a box. We want also to know what is happening outside the box. So today we have two strategies. We have a reporting index. People need to go there and also the other strategy to push out information every month.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Jesus. This has been extremely rich and valuable information. A lot of things to follow up on. I recommend people have a look at your book, review the question and answer session here, and download your material. So it just remains for me to thank both Unit 4, Chris and Jesus, for preparing and delivering great value to everyone here today. And I wish everybody that has attended, I want to thank everybody for the great questions, and also wish everybody that attended a great rest of your day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you might be. Take care, everyone. We'll be back in touch, and you will be hearing from us through the follow-up email over the next 48 hours. Bye for now.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. It was an honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.